What's going on? I'm back at y'all with another one. And this is just a touch up of my King Caesar list. Never seen Planet of the Apes. Go watch it. Um, in my last list, some of my cards got limited or banned, so I had to change it up and update it. Also, I was experimenting with this version, and I have no complaints about it. Uh, just new subtle changes that y'all may not know about. This is there's like 10 lists for this leader that I'm just been toiling around with. And it's kind of been my favorite one that's unique among them all. Besides, without playing more than two colors in a deck and just keeping it close to monocolor. But for this one, I teched in a lot of apes or gray apes and made that the central theme while being competitively viable. So there's a lot of creativities and there's a lot of different play routes that you can design your deck to make. In this one, I gathered most of the cards centered around the Great 8 archetype or some of the best ones and just center focus on the deck. Like for example, this one stands up my Great Apes defensively as well as if I have one on the field, this is just a free 10k combo to one of my Great 8 cards. So it's like a super combo for my Great Apes. Or I can just give it to like another yellow card and just swing up because I can choose one of them. But the requirement is me having a Great Ape in my battle. You can see it combos with cards like this defensively. If I set up the play where I bring this up to 35 through the new TP promo, which you can set up that play where you bring this out. Use the activate main to bring out the Son Goku, get a swing with it since it's a dual attack, and it's just evolving to this one, and just having like a 45k or even a 50k, 50 to 65k double strike crit is a pretty cool combo to set up in this that can easily be done to ensure the damage. This deck, which I like about it, versus more the other yellow decks in the format, is it can be aggro early, it can be play the mid range, and it can set up combos to close out the game. This is the only yellow deck that does all three, and that's why I put it so high up on my personal tier list. Because tier list is subjective, but that's my reasoning for putting it so high. And it's highly customizable. I say there's like maybe 12 to 18 cards of the original package that you kind of have to run base wise, but other than that, you can fit a lot of room for tech and other ideas. But for the main part, it's pretty solid on its own. And like I would say the first 3 turns you are, how should I say, archetyping it. Meaning you're playing the main archetype lines that it was built around. And this kind of made it more consistent, but after that you get to lean into some of the other plays depending on the situation, like the new Nova from set 25, which can rest cards. Also, with these new boost ups or boost up of yellow staples, they can easily answer some of the new problems that's coming along, like with having powerful unisons or block, uh, kind of the blocker meta is kind of coming back in a way, because that's like the only relevant way to stay alive in this climate of the game. But I also can lock down cards like with this grade 8 that I'm running, which both of these cards not only switches or locks downs battle cards or unisons. On play they allow me to draw a card. And the common theme is from like my early game that I wanted to bring over is this theme of dual attack, which is having the ability to stand up or restand and swing again after the first battle has ended. So like my main pressure cards is these two that I just showed, and this, which can put a lot of pressure through the early to mid game. Say by turn 4 they should be on 2 or 3 life by how the deck is designed. And you got a couple you can't pressure like I'm pressuring type of cards. Bardock is really good in this deck since I play not only blockers but barrier blockers, which is very hard to get through and have to use powerful resources on them. And like this is like my only my biggest non-barrier blocker, but he can float right back into one of my barrier blockers if they use a removal skill on him, which he pops cards on rest mode. That's just some of the cool interactions. Then like I was saying for the late game, this is a triple strike. I'm so tight that I took this out of my deck. This is like very important in a King Cole matchup because of how it wipes like the field and get rid of a lot of field cards. When I was rushing to save space for new cards, because we got a lot of new cards. That's like, I would say the toughest thing about deck building is keeping it close to 50 as possible with new staples. Like, I usually run this card at 4, but I want to keep the consistency, so I just tech 1 for it and just waited for the moment. This is kind of like the cooler counter replacement. Usually you drop this like turn 4, turn 5 comfortably when you have an established board and ready to close out the game. And or even better yet, now the last thing I want to talk about besides that, the rest is pretty rudimentary and just goes into the natural plays that's been garnered up for years around this deck. This has been a tech in and out. Not many people have been using it, but I would say this is a good turn 4 or 5 closeout, depending if you see it or have it. But this deck thins a lot and draws through its deck, so either open it or get it off the life. Also, another deck building principle is just having a card that can look through the whole deck, which this kind of garners that outside of the leader looking at the top 10, because for its activate you can look through your deck to play out this, as I stated earlier, which that deck knowledge lets you know if the SCRs in your deck or in your life where the tick hits or not. So just keep that in mind. But having the ability to tap your opponent out or tap blockers or whatever is very, how should I say, centric to how yellow plays the game and how they win. We don't have the counter anymore, so the new or the going back to the old ways, since usually yellow does a wide range of tapping of my opponent's cards or switching them to rest mode or using proper terminology, because that's what yellow does. But a lot of the yellow decks got away from that as new cards entered the staple pool for yellow and kind of acclimated some of the other colors type of affinities. But the root of it is yellow switches cards to rest mode. And I'm kind of wanting to get back to that while making a dope aggro slash mid range deck, because this can play either or. And like, also, I like this deck because it can win in 5 turns. Just to quote my man Annihilations, I'll beat you in 5 seconds. And that's how I want to structure this deck. Yellow has a bad moniker of when you play yellow or blue, you're gonna play a long game, but not with this one. I say, depending on how you build it, you can close out pretty easily and swiftly and put a lot of pressure. The only difference from like, I think we can start building more creatively now that we have super combos like this, which before you were only using one type of super combo, which restricted you to being at 4 life and having all your colors in your energy area be one type of color for the most part. But now that we're getting cards like this and the Hercule, which I could have ran, but I like this in particular because of tech and my Z deck, which can search my super combos when I play it. Potentially, I was running the Lord Select package, but depending on how I set up and also use this Hercule, I can make this live without having to over combo to meet the requirement of having a certain Z energy. Cause you are definitely using your Z deck a lot throughout the course of the game. But this has been a long explanation, but general closeouts and other defensive measures, like I said before, putting the rest Olympics that your opponent has to go through and mirror just a good closeout and combo with the Oolong, since on swing it gets an insane amount of attack, and then Oolong can just, and that's for the turn, and Oolong can just copy the attack. But that's some of the fundamental yellow strategies that's been cemented in the game. But side deck is pretty self-explanatory. This is for hand control. This is for the black and red decks that like to play big bodies on ahead of the energy curve. So they just stop them. For those decks that like to interact on my turn, or I would like to interrupt on their turn and just make them disrupt their curve and consistency. Just for skillless, cause skillless is good again. And also there's cool combo with this card. I can just target another card, negate its skills, and if I played this the previous turn, it locks that battle card from attacking. That's a free one. And more cards that say I'm going to tax you for playing on my turn and playing battle cards. But that is the list. I know this probably gonna be like, Piccolo Gohan or something like that. The other idea I had around this deck is using Bursting Reach, because we have a Z leader we can go into, but if I ever want to crank the pedal up on, how should I say, the aggressiveness of this deck, I would build it around Bursting Range. I would say Bursting Range is my number 2 SCR of choice, but you really don't need a SCR in my opinion, unless you're going to like a major event and you need that extra 2% outside of setting up the best environment to play that SCR that could potentially put you closer to game. But that's another thing I don't want to go in too much of a tangent on, like how people saying SCRs is a win condition. You are your own win condition. What lets me go into this earlier than normal? Also being a defensive SER, but the other reason is of another super combo I played in like in a previous deck profile of time. I highlighted how this is a world tournament Z leader, which is important because of this other super combo. Let me go. Let me look it up right quick. Let me do a jump skip. All right, now that we into the section, this is what I wanted to highlight. Is something we building the deck to rush to that Z leader, or just bursting rage into it. Air quotes. I was thinking about using this super combo if we built the deck around it, because I can use it at 5 or less, which is easy to get into with this deck, depending on the build. And this is one of the only Son Goku childhoods which is searchable off my Yamcha. Which let me show y'all that again. Which searches Goku childhoods off your top 5. Which having a searchable super combo is very beneficial. And also, if I'm aggressing them, I'm bursting rage into that. Being able to stack up on your searchable super combos is very key, because bursting rage into him, having those early super combos, which requires minimal setup in that scenario, that specific scenario. I should put in air quotes, asterisk. Is push this up like at a 40 zone effect, put him extra 10k, 50, and he's already crit. And that's before super combos. 50k double straight crit coming in with the leader. But in that scenario, I probably run multiple of these. But that was one stream of thought, because I've been wanting to build a deck around that concept of world tournament. But that's just one line that I can splash into this if I ever decide to change it up. That won't really overall affect the deck in a negative way. But on the back burner in my mind, or in another profile that you might see later, world tournament. I'm just gonna keep it at that. Man, so many things in this game go unexplored, but that's just my thought process with it. But I'm just gonna save this, leave this down in the description, and let me know what you think. This is just like the full layout again of the deck. Just keep it simple, easy, and the video will be below, even if you wanna click on this just to get a further explanation how you want to play this. Like your first 1 to 3 turns is usually the main package, and then between 3 to 6 you're just laying waste to them with the extra utilities, and then closing out with either Annihilation setting up or the Diabolical. Thanks for watching again, and I'll catch you on the next one. Be easy.